Hello, Gary here again, and in this video I want to talk about deciding when to pull up. This can be quite confusing to a lot of people, and they are either afraid of pulling up at all, feel like there's not enough time to pull up, so they keep moving, or they pull up too much. So we need to think about when is the right time to do it. So on a first phase, you'll be doing this a lot more than you would on a second phase. So basically it's going to be to deal with most faults in order to keep control. So at any point when you see a fault with the subject that you're dealing with, then you would pull up to talk about that fault. If you were to try and talk about the fault on the move, then the pupil is driving towards maybe another hazard which you're not then in control of, because you're not talking them through that hazard, you're talking about what's gone on before. So always stay in front. Try not to talk about anything when the car's on the move that's gone on behind you. Pull up, talk about it then, and then set off in control. If the pupil seems confused, that's another time to pull up. And sometimes you can tell by the look on the face. So do watch the pupil's expressions, and if they're looking a bit confused, then you would pull up to find out why and sort that out. And also, if the pupil's got a question, sometimes as they're driving along they'll ask you a question. You obviously want to deal with it, but again, if you started to answer the question on the move, you wouldn't be in control of them as they were driving towards other hazards, and so to deal with that question you would pull up. And also to explain something new, so if there's something that you may want to explain that you've not talked about so far, then pull up and talk about that, which may even include a diagram. So obviously for any diagram you would have to be pulled up. So they're the main times when you would pull up on the first phase. So you do pull up quite a lot on the first phase to keep the control. Now, second phase is slightly different, and this is where people think that they can't pull up at all. That's not correct. You can pull up on a second phase, and sometimes it is necessary. So let's think about when to do that. So best to pull up to deal with serious or dangerous faults. Anything that within a driving test would have been marked down as a serious or a dangerous fault, then it's a good idea to pull up to deal with that. To show diagrams, obviously, you're going to be needing to pull up to show diagrams. If a disagreement occurs, so as you're driving along and you've seen a fault, you might be trying to correct it on the move, but if you're not getting agreement from the pupil and it feels like you need more time to discuss something, then pull over and keep control that way. Otherwise, again, your faults might snowball and you won't be in control of the situation that the pupil's driving towards if you're talking about something for too long. And also if there are too many faults to deal with on the move. So if, as the pupil starts to drive, usually at the beginning of the second phase, you might see quite a lot of faults to do with that subject, then it might be a good idea to pull over, go through those faults, gather your thoughts and make a plan of what you're going to do about it, and then get back out on the move under control again. So don't be afraid of pulling up on a second phase. It isn't impossible to do. You can do it, and it's just doing it at the right time. The way in which it could be wrong is if you pull up for absolutely every little fault that you see, because the pupil can at this stage deal with listening to you, answering questions on the move, because they're in control of the car and they can drive almost to test standard, and so therefore you can talk to them as they're driving along. You won't have to worry too much about the fact that they might lose control. So try that first. If it doesn't work, pull up to buy yourself a bit more time to deal with the faults. Hope that's helped. So there's the motto again: 20 letters, 10 words, 1 meaning. If it is to be, it is up to me. Prepare to pass.